the specificity. Welcome back to my channel, and happy new year. It's 2021, and as I'm sure you read the title, it's time for some New Year's resolutions. I'm so excited for new beginnings. I always love New Year's, even though last year was a little bit chaotic, if I do say so myself. And this is low-key cheesy, but you know, make 2021 your bitch year, alright? And that's what I'm here for. We're going to talk about New Year's resolutions, but also just a disclaimer that New Year's resolutions aren't obviously for everybody, and if you don't feel mentally prepared or to make drastic changes or even think about the rest of this year, then take the time you need to think about what you need, and because that's just as important as setting goals for yourself at any time of the year, not just at the new year, because you can set goals anytime you want. I just find the New Year's a really good time to do it, along with the other 7 billion people that live on the planet. So I decided that this year I really wanted to focus on being really present and, you know, building my dream life instead of thinking of things as goals. I actually got this tip, or this kind of building your dream life instead of focusing on goals, from Twirling Pages. I will link her channel right here. She's amazing. I found her recently. I've been binge watching all her videos, but apart from that, I'm going to be splitting this video into 2 parts. Number 1 is going to be my actual goals and what I want to accomplish this year, and then the second part is going to be about how I actually want to achieve them. So this is anything from like goal setting and timelines and just other stuff that I find really useful when I want to hit goals, and I hope you find them helpful too. Obviously, if you do want to like and subscribe before we get into it to support me, then that'd be great. But apart from that, let's get into it. I decided that I wanted to split my goals into 4 categories, just because I didn't want it to be like overwhelming by looking at a ton. And I know people say to not set that many goals, but I just wanted a couple in each categories that I find really important to me. So my 4 categories are financial, school, gym, and personal. I found this really useful because obviously my gym goals don't relate to my personal life, and obviously, why am I explaining this? Obviously, you know, you get the gist. Okay, so as for financial, one of my top goals was to buy needs as you need them, but buy commodities as rewards. So basically this means that I'm not buying things constantly, and it means that I'm actually saving more money in the process, and it means I'm, you know, enforcing delayed gratification, which I think is really good for me because I'm often an impulse buyer, which is not good. Everything else I like to plan, but shopping is just not one of them. So I've also decided that I want to save 2/3 of my paycheck. I'm still obviously in high school, so I don't have a lot of expenses apart from my phone and my gym membership, but I also do want to go backpacking and take a gap year, so I do want to be able to save for that by saving 2/3 of my paycheck. I also really want to learn more about investment. Like, I've always been scared by business. I don't know if anybody else feels like that, but I've always been scared about business and economics, and just like, it never really made sense to me. So I've started reading The Barefoot Investor. I listened to the She's on the Money podcast, Australian, Melbourneian based podcast. Amazing. If you do want to pick up some tips and tricks from a financial advisor who's also a millennial, I would recommend listening to this podcast. I binge watched it, and it was on my Spotify Wrapped last year of how many times I put it on repeat, so really would recommend. Next, I have my gym goals. Obviously these are different, but everybody, actually all of these are really personalized. Like, it's honestly all up to you and what you feel that you can accomplish. But my 2 gym goals are to be able to do pull-ups, because my little arms cannot. I tried last year, but I want to go through the proper training of, yeah, but we'll figure it out, okay? And I also want to be able to run on my runs around 10 to 12 kilometers. At the moment, I usually average about 5 to 6. That may not sound like a lot for some people, but me being an asthmatic, or being insecure about running all my life, I was proud of that. I'm proud of that, not gonna lie. But obviously next we have school. School is very important to me. my future and my education are very important to me. So this sounds very generalized, but one of my top goals for school is to get an 80+ ATAR. This means that I can pretty much get into a lot of courses that I need, and I'm doing all the subjects I need, which is really great. That's just a goal I've set for myself, because you know, I think that if I apply myself and I work hard, then I can get that, and that's, you know, that's all anybody can ask for. But then also just around that, like, consistent study and hard work is something that I really want to focus on, because I notice that I do, like, as much as I like to plan things, I put all my energy in like bursts. So I do want it to be more of like, you know, what's the saying? Like, it's a marathon, not a sprint, especially year 12. Like, kind of, you know, I want to change my study habits a little. And you'll obviously see that over the coming course of this year. I will do a lot of school-based videos and stuff like that. So I'm very excited. So stick around if you want to see that. But then apart from that, I just have my personal goals, which is being consistent in everything in my life, because obviously I said this before that I want to, you know, I do things in impulse and short bursts, but that also means that I want to be more conscious and, you know, mindful of what I'm doing as well. Like, that might sound very vague, but we'll get into it. My last goal for personal is to read between 12 to 15 books this year. With school, I kind of fell off the whole reading thing, but I love reading. I used to tear through books in like a couple of days when I was a kid. Like, I had a big brain when I was a kid. That's approximately a book a month, or just under. But yeah, so I'm very excited to gain some more knowledge, especially that I've finished literature now. I need my books back. Obviously, if you look at any of the goals I've just explained, they do relate to my future, because I think it's really important to set up for the future, and I'm sure most people think that. But I'm really excited because, you know, after last year, I realized that I need to prioritize myself, and I need to look after myself first, you know, and I'm really excited to do that by goal setting. Second part of this video is obviously going to be about how I actually want to achieve them, because we all need to be kept accountable some way. But I thought of 3 key things that I want to remember when I thought about setting my goals. And so there were 3 key things that I thought about when I was setting my goals, and these are going to be how realistic they are, how specific they are, accountability. So I thought about how I could achieve, and by making them specific, I could really narrow down like my true wants and needs and the things I have this year, because I'm really busy, which means that I do need to be able to plan my time well, and, you know, not be on my phone, not be on TikTok, because I'm always on goddamn TikTok, holy. So I do obviously need to plan my time, and to be able to get everything that I need to get done and to take into account all my extracurricular activities, I do need to have a bit of a plan for myself and prioritize the needs and prioritize the things I want to achieve. That was a bit of a ramble, but let's get into it. So 1, be realistic. I'm sure you've heard this before. I'm sure you've heard this before a million times. In year 7, I had to do goal setting for year 12, and this was the first thing they told me, but it's true. An example of this is that, as I said before, I currently run around 5 kilometers on each run I do, but by the end of 2021, I want to be able to run 10 to 12. And I feel like this is really realistic, because I'm going to be really busy with year 12, and I went from like not being able to run at all to being able to run 5K within 6 or so months. I think that might sound like a long time to a lot of people. I'm asthmatic and I've had severe asthma. I've been in hospital with it for pretty much every year of my life, except maybe the past year. So this was a really big achievement for me this year, and it wasn't originally a goal, but I was excited to get there. But this is realistic because it means I've given myself a little bit more time than possibly needed, but it means that I'm flexible, and it means that I have a good goal. It's realistic. Go me and go you. All right, number 2, specificity. I already mentioned this very briefly at the start, but it is obviously really important for achieving said goals. You have to be really specific with these things. So when people are like, oh, you know, I want to be healthy in the new year, it's like, well, yeah, what does that mean? It's like, do you want to go on a run every day? Do you want to go on a walk every day? Do you want to cut out soft drinks? Do you want to journal when you wake up every day? Do some morning yoga? And like set things in place. Like being really specific helps with narrowing down, because if you've got a really vague idea, you're not going to be motivated, and you're just not going to have an idea of where to go. and we want direction in this new year. We're taking control of the new year. We don't want any more vagueness than we had last year, all right? No. And then finally, number 3, accountability. This is also half the reason I'm making this video, so I can look back at the end of this year and be like, oh, did I actually do any of this? And if I didn't, that's okay. But it's to be honest and real about my goals and building what I want in my life, and you know, building that with intention and seeing that if I can be present and really conscious, this means that I have the ability to do what I want. And I think sometimes with myself, I don't know if this is other people as well, that you feel like your own head gets in the way. I'm sure this happens to a lot of people, but you just feel like the negative voice in your head sometimes just stops doing things. This is obviously everybody. Why am I talking about this? But I feel like if I can just be really conscious and not think so much about the end result, it'll allow me to be the best version of myself, and being more present is always a good thing, because we're always thinking about the future, and you know, planning where you are right now is where you're supposed to be. So I recently, as I mentioned before, I watched Twirling Pages, her New Year's video, and please go support her. Her editing, her vibe, it's all so good, like chef's kiss. But she did mention a thing about like measuring self-worth and your resolution. Like, well, yes, it's good to have like an end goal. Everybody's different, and everybody needs to, you know, take time to figure out their priorities, and that may take a little longer than expected. So that's why she called it like a dream life instead of like a New Year's resolutions thing, because it's like that may be something that's longer than a year, and if it's really long term, then obviously it's gonna be different for everybody. But yeah, I hope this video made sense, because sometimes I feel like I ramble, especially if it's like, if I'm just sitting down talking and not doing like a vlog kind of b-roll voiceover thing. But yeah, happy new year, happy 2021. Obviously for my fellow Australians, I hope you're all staying safe, social distancing, wearing your mask. If you're overseas, I hope you're doing well. It sounds tough. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. I did do a little plan for it, so I was very excited, you know, doing some organization, and I'm very excited about this year and just everything that's to come, and I'm trying to stay optimistic, you know. But yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.